aerospace and defense manufacturing,
machines and automation,
additive manufacturing,
smart manufacturing,
global manufacturing economy.
Welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals, powered by SME. From the design screen to the shop floor to final assembly, we drive the conversation about making manufacturing smarter by connecting people who are passionate about manufacturing.
Hello and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. Please remember to like and subscribe to our feed across all your favorite podcast channels. I'm your host, Steve Plumb, Editor-in-Chief for SME Media, along with my colleagues Kip Hanson and Amy Bryson. So we're here on a beautiful Friday, at least in Southeast Michigan in May, to talk about the June issue of Smart Shop Essentials, which just went to press and should be arriving to subscribers soon. So one of the focuses of the issue is on the importance and benefits of premium tools and equipment. And in this case, premium really does mean better, and in some cases, the best or optimal solutions. Kip, can you elaborate a little bit more on this concept and set the stage for the rest of the issue?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks. The premium tools is interview with Samvik Coromont and Sarah Tizet and Iskar. The applications engineers there spoke at great length about the importance of, put it bluntly, not cheaping out on your tools. Cutting tools basically represent about 3 to 5% of part cost, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to save a few bucks on an end mill just at the cost of lower productivity. So with that is also better process predictability, and then also following in the better theme for this article, I also spoke with L&S Chip Blaster. They talked a lot about the importance of high-pressure coolant, filtration, and so on, both of which are, kind of goes hand in hand with the premium cutting tools topic as well. And then lastly, I had a discussion with Methods Machine Tool. I spoke to Bernie Otto there about the importance of OEE and how vertical machining centers generally score real low on the OEE compared to horizontals, and he made a lot of compelling arguments for moving in that direction. Obviously, horizontals cost a lot more money, but the payback is quite quick. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So on the cutting tool side, on the premium tools, what does that mean for shops and manufacturers, and how are they starting to employ these to make better use and improve the OEE?
Well, I think a lot of shops have found that they'll spend money on a high-end end mill or a milling cutter or better tools for their turning machines. And they found that their OEE does go up quite a bit. And like I said earlier, the process has become a lot more predictable, which also is important in terms of anyone that wants to go unattended or lightly attended. Top on the list for that endeavor is to have very predictable processes, and obviously premium cutting tools help with that.
Amy, what were some of your takeaways from the issue?
Yeah, so along the lines of doing things better, there was a Q&A called Better Insights, and that Q&A that Kip did was with Greg McHale, who's founder and CEO of Datanomics. And Greg talks a lot about this push and pull that exists between information technology, or IT, and operational technology, or OT. But really, the two sides should play well in the sandbox if a shop is really going to get better insights to maximize, production efficiency and just get the most in general out of its hardware and software investments. As part of this, Q&A discussion, it was talked about that, traditional concept of manufacturing software solutions as a closed ecosystem is really just a dead end. And it goes back to traditional on-prem ERPs that can only be accessed by maybe a couple people in the front office, and they certainly don't talk to other platforms. That's really a dead end, right? So conversely, the movement toward cloud-based systems, cloud-based systems don't really require the overhead that go with managing legacy on-prem systems, and B, they allow for a huge aggregation of manufacturing data and insights from that data, across different cloud services that actually talk to each other. So I know we've talked about this in other issues. It's kind of avoiding those islands of information and really connecting systems and the people working in the shop so that it's a much more harmonious system that benefits the bottom line and allows for easier and better decision making. But it certainly does bring up a lot of questions. And there's an interesting balancing act in securing networks while enabling data flow. And Kip, you asked him a question around, as shops begin generating data from their equipment, where does the information go and what should shops really know about this kind of on-prem versus cloud-based solution discussion? And Greg kind of, at the end of the day says, listen, manufacturing is only getting harder. People need different ways to look at visibility. And he likens it to having more pieces on the playing board since no one system can really give you everything you need to know. But at the end of the day, it's about maximizing visibility, getting more cross-pollination so shops can run smarter. And at the end of the day, Greg says integration among these systems is key to gaining these insights. And of course, Greg and the fine folks at Datanomics are certainly available to help navigate all that and kind of be your champion or your Superman in that endeavor.
Well, that's a good segue, Amy, in talking about data and materials and improved or maximizing visibility. One of the features that caught my eye was entitled Seeing Like Superman. And, to be honest, I felt a little bit out of my depth initially and thought maybe we should have our resident comic book guru expert Cameron Kirkhu to talk about this. But in this case, we're talking about giving manufacturers the ability to see into a part through advanced computed tomography machines or CT scanning. Similar to what they use in hospitals. The Superman connection is that CT scanners use thousands of X-ray projectors to capture and build a precise 3D database, which was previously almost impossible to do without actually slicing into a part and opening it up. So, as a result, CT system can capture just really fine, precise information about the part and the material and kind of replaces or at least supersedes some other advanced technologies like 2D radiography, ultrasounds, and liquid penetrant. So it's also faster and less expensive than cutting open a part individually. Companies are using it from everything for qualifying parts to inspections, and failure analysis, which is very critical part of that tool as well. And while it's still somewhat rare among company manufacturers other than the mega companies out there, it's getting a little bit more commonplace, especially in aerospace, automotive, medical device markets. And there are third-party suppliers like and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, Kip, but Jesse Garant Metrology Center. So operates a fleet of them all the way up to 3 mega electron volts, which I'm not an expert on this, but I think even Superman and his fellow Kryptonians would be wowed by.
Yeah, they're actually able to look deep inside engine blocks and so on. And there was also a reference in there about how I think it was Volkswagen has an inline system that they use to do 100% inspection on automotive components. So it's pretty powerful.
And of course, like everything else these days, it's tapping into AI to become even better and more precise. Kip, anything else that in the issue of note that we missed?
No, I think we hit all the articles. I thought it was a fun piece to put together. A lot of opportunities there for shops to improve their operations. Yeah, and just to close off the CT scanning story, it's important to note that, typical job shop or smaller manufacturer isn't going to be able to afford one of those machines, although they have come down a lot, where they used to cost $1 million or so. I think I heard $300,000 for a smaller kind of entry-level machine, if you will. So it's getting closer.
All right. So I think if the three of us pool our money, we can make that happen.
Yes, exactly. I have tons of use cases for it.
Yes.
I also want to say, it's fun to work on this project with certainly both of you and also our design friends over at Niger Design. They're based out of Chicago. So it's fun to, sit on a call and go through the stories and come up with the Superman concept and watch them put, their spin on it that doesn't violate any copyright laws or anything. So it's just it's a fun project to work on. It's also a really fun read. So we encourage everybody to check it out, certainly online at advancedmanufacturing.org, but also subscribe and get the print copies because they really are cool little collectibles in and of themselves.
And Kip, I know you're hard at work in the next issue. Any sneak previews you can offer?
Yeah, I've got a potentially have a story with through Oak Ridge National Labs. They talk about convergence, the coming convergence of manufacturing, which we've all heard of hybrid machining. Hybrid manufacturing, that'll be in there certainly. And then I've also got talking a little bit more about, well, the article highlight this in August is high speed machining. So I basically cover a lot of that, as far as end mill selection, tool holder selection, and also we'll be speaking with methods again on the importance of machine controls on these small, fast movements when you're machining a part. So again, it's about improving operations and making things better.
It sounds like a strong issue. Dare I say, it'll be to us faster than the speed of light.
I can keep going with the Superman theme if you like.
I'm sure the listeners are loving it.
All right. Amy and Kip, it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, gentlemen.
And to learn more about the latest manufacturing trends and hear more of our podcasts, visit advancedmanufacturing.org and be sure to like and Superman subscribe to our feed.